Hootie did yesterday's calls. Thank heavens, it still took me 2 hours, even with him doing all the work. So many calls, so much shit going on. It's just amazing how much shit happens on the road there. It's unbelievable. This is part 3 of the Trimet board meeting, May edition. In part 1, we saw the union representative pleading with the puppets to get a seat on the hiring committee for the next general manager, okay? And I've thought about that and how they, with the quotations, have completely ignored what the people that do the work want, and how they will continue to ignore the people that do the work, and how the people that do the work are nothing and to be treated like serfs. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was there doing the work and I knew that this board wanted no input from me at all, I would be not a supporter of the board. Okay, I would not support them. I would know they're not on my side, and I would not care about them. Well, I would care about them because they control your life, whether you like it or not. Okay, part 2. So here we had this whole presentation about raising the general manager's salary, and that was really quite incredible because here we are. You know, they won't raise the minimum wage. They won't pay essential workers anymore. But we have a living example of how the elites, the Trimet Board of Directors is elites, functioning for elites, how they're worried about attracting a so-called good general manager. Let me make this clear. I think it's all nonsense and bullshit. The general manager is just some fucking guy who's in that business who can lie good. So here are the elites raising his salary again, because 300 and I think it was, he made almost 400,000, Kelsey. But that's not enough because they're elites. And so what we see playing out here right before our eyes is the entire problem with our society today, where the elites are in one frame of mind and everybody else is in another. Everybody below the elites has to suffer, but the elites keep taking more and more for themselves. And we see that playing out here at Trimet even. And, you know, I watched this board meeting and I see how it's so similar to every other level of government and how they operate. They keep to their agenda. Everything is fantastic. Everybody gets kudos. And the elites keep raising their salary while everybody else is while they have a bunch of although I'll hand it, let's not get too hard. Although Trimet has not made fares free, they have gotten a lot better about enforcing them, as far as I can tell, on the bus side. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems from where I sit and listening that they're much more mellow about this, especially from when I worked there. When I worked there, bus drivers would stop the bus if somebody didn't pay the fare. And everybody, I mean, I was always shocked that drivers actually could do that. Stop the whole bus over one person and there'd be a whole bus full of people needing to go somewhere. And drivers would stop the bus for one non-fare payer and they would actually wait for the police to kick them off. I mean, I was always shocked by that. At least we don't have that situation anymore. Thank God for that. And Trimet's gotten better with things like the strollers and the wagons, and for that they deserve credit. I got to give them credit where credit's due, and they have relaxed a lot of those rules to their credit. Unfortunately, the driver barriers are pretty much useless. I guess you can't really hit the operator directly. You have to reach around, but they really need to fix that reach around problem, because that's people are getting around that barrier pretty easily. Okay, so And now we're on part 3, and this is going to be the general manager's report. And this should be good because we've had several high-profile events here. We've had the murder of the driver, Brianna. I forgot her name. I didn't know her, but whatever. The murder of the driver, which had nothing to do with Trimet, by the way. It had nothing. It was not a Trimet-related incident. But Dessou actually was a keynote speaker at her funeral, which I still don't understand, unless he knew her personally. I suppose it's possible, but I doubt it. And then we had the bus driver getting shot by a stray bullet. And those of us who've been watching this material know that the buses getting shot is common. It's quite common. It's happened dozens of times since we've been watching this. This is the first time that it actually hit a driver. And that was just a matter of time before it did. Luckily, it didn't hit him in the head. I mean, if you look at the bullet hole, it looked like it was right at where his head would be. It almost looked like it'd be an intentional shot to me. But apparently there's witnesses that saw people shooting down the street. So it was definitely not an intentional gunshot. So let's hear how Dessou spins all this in the general manager report.
Members of the board and also the public, want to just say thank you for being here today with us. This morning, we're going to be sharing some timely information with you all. I will provide an update on our response to COVID-19, the pandemic, and
I wonder how Sam feels about knowing he can't be the next general manager. So here he is being the general manager, but they're not going to let him be the general manager. They can't possibly let him take this job this time because they did that the last 2 times. They said, oh, we're conducting an international search. We're going around the world for the best candidate. And the best candidate was Neil McFarlane and Doug Kelsey. Both of them happened to be in Trimet when they made the job. They can't pull that this time. I guess they can do whatever they want. They can do that. There's nothing you can do. They can do whatever they want, but it has bad public relations optics. But I don't really know if they care that much about public relations because they're not accountable to the public whatsoever. My guess would be that they're not going to do that a third time around. I don't remember how Fred Hansen ended up there because that was in my beginning days of Trimet. I was there for a year while Tom Walsh was there. And Tom Walsh was a good general manager. I didn't interact with him personally, but I knew of him, and I knew he had like the talk to Tom at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock on Wednesdays. He had his door open to his office. You could just walk in and talk to him. He was the only general manager in my time that did that. And then Fred showed up. I'm not sure of the circumstances of Fred. Fred was another insider from the inside Democratic group that's controlling Portland government for decades now, and the state government, as a matter of fact. And so Fred came on, and he made a windfall for himself. And then he took Neil, because Neil is Trimet is all capital projects. People that follow the material know it's a capital projects agency, and Neil was the main force. But Neil was hated by everybody, me included, because he was a dick. He was horrible. And we used to circulate pictures of him with a penis on his head. And then he took Kelsey. Kelsey, oh, wait a minute, who had been fired. Let me show you this while I'm thinking. Kelsey, who had been fired up at TransLink. Neil took him in. He kind of took him in. And let me show you this. This is funny. Look at this. Here's Doug. Hey, Al. I'm back in Canada, Al, enjoying my universal health care and big pension. Thanks to Neil McFarlane for giving me a job after I got fired from TransLink and letting me polish off my retirement. It's like I was never there at Trimet. And it is the truth. He's like gone. It's like never there. But he did make himself $500,000 plus a fat payout. And I'm sure he was, Neil gave him the job because he liked him, because it all functions in cronyism. Don't forget all of this. This is all cronyism. Don't get fooled by actually thinking that they're like talented or something, because they're not. These are cronyism jobs. And what did Doug do? He didn't do anything. He made that huge paycheck for nothing. And you heard that ridiculous retirement nonsense party. I mean, the elites celebrating themselves, which, draws me to vomitus having to listen to these people. All right. So anyway, where was I? Okay. Back to this.
Vaccinations. Also, I'll brief you on the April ridership report and then provide an update on our efforts to reimagine public safety on our transit system.
Wait a minute. He's not going to talk about any of these. He's going to not talk about, when I sued Trimet I didn't win. They settled it, but we considered it a win. They never brought it up at the board. The board didn't even know about it. Okay. They completely kept all of that away from the board. I'm surprised because it was over $1 million. Okay. They were supposed to get approval for things over $1 million, but they didn't do that. Somehow they didn't do that. They didn't present them one of these like resolutions authorizing payment. They didn't do it. They kept it out of the board. I'm not sure how they did that, but of course I know how they did that. They're corrupt and they're cheaters and liars. They're just like every other government official, every other politician. They're cheaters and liars, and so they didn't let me get any. They didn't mention I'm a persona non grata there now. They don't want anything to do with me. Nobody does anymore, but that's fine. I mean, I don't do this to get recognition. I do this because it's fun. I know people. I really do. Ask Jason. He does it for the same reason. This really only was me and Jason. Truthfully, it was the two of us that have been doing all of this, mostly me and him. We both enjoy this topic. It was one of the most fateful meetings ever with me and Jason, and we became friends. I mean, we were nothing alike. Plus, we're 30 years apart in age, yet we became friends around all of this stuff, and we've done great things with the material.
And then I would love to introduce our Trimet's longest tenured employee and one of the safest. Her name is Cindy Kassab. So I'll get there to,
Cindy Kassab.
To give you that update. So
Cindy
first I want to
Kassab is here. This should be good.
Start this morning by sharing with you an update from Trimet's response to COVID-19. We continue to help our employees access vaccines, and also I had the opportunity to get my first shot alongside Shirley Block, the president of ATU 757.
Yeah, that was some kind of a signal of solidarity there, I guess. Look, everything's okay now with me and the union president.
Shirley and I took this step also to show unity and also solidarity among the ranks, that we gave our employees the opportunity to take the vaccination, and then afterwards we did it together to show unity. We are strongly encouraging all of our employees to get vaccinated to protect themselves and their loved ones and their
I fully intend to do this after the human tests are complete. Let's see, we'll look at this again in December. Around, they started it in December, so let it go 1 year, and then we'll decide whether we want to move forward with this. For me personally, they're still, they're claiming huge success, blah, blah, but it's mainstream media, and there's all kinds of questions here that you're not allowed to hear. You're not allowed to hear anything negative about any of this. But if I were driving, I probably would get it. But since I'm not going anywhere and I don't do anything, I don't see any reason why I should get it. I have no exposure. So why would I do this? I mean, several people I know have gotten deathly ill from this. And one of them is in the hospital still. They say it has nothing to do with the shot, but it was a blood clot thing. And, we've read about that, haven't we?
Workers. Our second round of vaccination clinics at Trimet properties kicked off on Monday. And we're going to run a 24-hour-a-day operations, and these clinics will be
24-hour day.
taking place most of all the hours of day and night. Also, would like to take a moment to just
Wait a
reiterate.
minute, that's not what I read. I've read some material about this being over, I think. Wait a minute, I'm gonna have to. I'll scroll through the stuff I've posted about this.
Colorado is that masks are still required on transit, despite some relaxed guidelines by the CDC for people who are fully vaccinated to go without masks in their settings. The TSA has extended the mask mandate on transit until September 13th, and that's for trains, airplanes, and buses. Now let's take a quick look at our ridership for April of 2021. Trimet provided more than 3.5 million trips last month. Our weekly system ridership was up nearly 36% from April of 2020.
Whoa.
However, it was down 57% from April of 2019. So April of 2020 was the lowest ridership month since the pandemic began. To give some context here, the following metrics will reflect the changes in ridership between 2019 and 2021. So our weekly bus ridership was down about 54%. Our weekly MAX ridership is down a little bit more than 60%. And then our West ridership saw a dip in ridership that's more than 76%. But a reminder to you all that our service levels, particularly on MAX and West, are lower than in 2019.
Oh, really?
As we start seeing sporting events like the Trailblazers, the Thorns, the Timbers games, they are inviting more fans back into the stands. And we do expect to see our ridership grow as we move forward there. However, there are still capacity limits on board our buses and trains currently, and we ask riders for their patience as they return to the system. Some vehicles may reach capacity limits, and they may need to wait for the next one for their safety and the safety of others as we continue to operate. But we do expect customers will begin coming back on board as vaccines become available to more people. And we really look forward to that day as we continue to move forward. So now I would like to turn the efforts to reimagining public safety on our transit system. But before I start the update, we are getting word as of the last hour or so of a deadly shooting at a transit rail yard in San Jose this morning.
That was not a bus driver or a rail driver that did that. That was a maintenance worker of some sort. And apparently he hated his job. I guess he did. And it's America, and Americans, this is what they do when they get pissed. They go out and kill a bunch of people. That seems to be a cultural norm at this point.
The news is slowly trickling in, but I want to just say that our hearts go out to those that are involved in this senseless shooting. We are standing strong with our transit colleagues in San Jose, and our prayers are with them there. I know Marla Black and JC Bonetta, they're all working kind of in the back rooms right now, but they had an active shooter.
All right, now we just heard what he said about the COVID, right? Oh, okay. This is COVID leave. Okay, I see what. COVID leads what? You can't take COVID lead anymore. COVID leave. Okay, that's different from the COVID vaccination. I got confused again, as always.
Situation this morning there. Now moving into our reimagining, moving back a year, George Floyd was murdered at the hands of former police officer Derek Chauvin a year ago yesterday. And it was the release of the video of that horrible incident that helped us raise the voices of people calling for racial justice around the world. It was also a catalyst for Trimet's decision to take a closer look at how we approach public safety. So while the reimagining of public safety on transit has been an inclusive and comprehensive process over nearly the past year, it's an evolution of the steps that we will be taking for some time, including establishing a low-income fare program in 2018 and decriminalizing our fare evasion. So we are moving forward.
Let's qualify that. It's not completely decriminalized. See, they're playing word games, okay? You need to qualify that correctly. It's decriminalized if the person who got the citation takes care of it within 90 days. If they don't, it goes to the courts. So it's not completely criminalized.
On the recommendations approved by the board. And in February, the Safety and Security Division hired a program coordinator for the initiative, and also our executive directors throughout the agency have been tasked with helping to further the efforts laid out. Additionally, the program model a pilot on a safety response team that's being created using the nation's best practice and trauma-informed practices in partnerships with our regional service providers. We are training our employees and contractors. And then in the last 6 months, we've had hundreds of staff participate in diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings, including addressing microaggressions. Currently, our safety and security staff is participating in mental health, first aid, and all transit police are taking an in-depth 24-hour crisis intervention specialist course to build skills in crisis intervention. Now, I will say, I got to give credit to the police here, because I've seen, or I've heard multiple interactions coming through the bus driver calls. The police are actually very reasonable. And when it comes to dealing with some of these difficult cases, I'm surprisingly impressed with their behavior over a lot of these situations, which is a good thing, of course. Intervention and also de-escalation. I would also mention that we've increased the presence of Trimet personnel on our system over the last 6 months. Coming forward, as we move forward, John Gardner will provide a full update on our efforts at our September board meeting. And then lastly, I'm pleased to say that I've approved the Reimagining Public Safety Advisory Committee charter. I know that Director and Dr. Laverne Lewis will be serving on this committee, and we will be reporting back to you, to the board of directors, as that committee moves forward. So finally this morning, I would love to take a moment here to reflect and appreciate Trimet employees. And this is something that since March, I started bringing forward to you some of the recognitions and appreciations of our great professionals that we have here providing service to the public. And I want to pause for a moment, and I want to put the mindset here. I want you to think back. The year was 1976. Jimmy Carter was our president. Gas cost about 59 cents a gallon. A little company that was called Apple was just getting off the ground. A 23-year-old woman left her job at a security company to join Trimet as a bus operator. Her name is Cindy Kassab, and she's still with us today. So this month, she celebrated her 45th year in a driver's seat. 45 years of service to our riders and to the community. I can only imagine how many people have had the pleasure of riding with Cindy on her bus. But it's just not her tenure that makes Cindy so unique. She also have earned 45 years of Safe Driving Award from the National Safety Council. That is just tremendously, absolutely amazing. She also has earned Trimet's highest honor for safety, performance, and customer service, and become the only or the second woman to be named a Gold Grandmaster.
That's right. She's the second one. I'm glad you didn't mess that up. Linda Harris was the first, and she just happens to be my girlfriend, by the way.
Operator. So it's my...
And Linda Harris was only there 27 years, and she beat Cindy Kassab, who's been there 40 years, to that award.
Pleasure, board, to introduce to you Cindy Kassab, the longest tenured operator in Trimet history.
I know Cindy. She's nice. Can't nothing bad to say about her.
Cindy.
Where is she? Don't tell me.
Is Cindy with us? Can she?
Is it leader in tech? How is it?
I see that she is unmuted, but we are not hearing her.
75. Oh.
Can we unmute Cindy by any chance?
Where's Cindy? Nope, you got it all messed up.
Can we? Yeah, can we change the audio to phone, please?
It's not working.
While we're waiting for Cindy, board, just want to thank Cindy for her commitment and her dedication over the last 45 years. We are so proud of her.
Can you hear us now, Tim?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
I want
okay. I don't know.
I want to see her face. Oh, there she is. Look. Oh, God, look at this.
Oh.
Cindy, congratulations on your last 45 years.
I got to take a picture of this.
I want to say to you, just well done. I've had the pleasure to meet with you in person, and just you are a phenomenal person and a phenomenal operator for Trimet. So congratulations.
Come on, Cindy.
Thank you so much for recognizing me, and I really enjoy being here. I've been here over half of my life. It's hard to believe. It really isn't. You know, Trimet's been really good to me. You know, I was driving my bus yesterday, and I passed a building that said payday loans, and I'm thinking, boy, I'm so glad I got out with Trimet because I've never had to do a payday loan. So anyway, yeah, it's I don't know, I've met a lot of great people, great passengers in my life. I've driven the 43 for a long time, so, you know, since I haven't been on the 43 now because they took the midday service off, but,
so is this
you know, some of them
this is the guy behind the scenes here. Is this the Jeff guy?
Have become my good friends. In fact, I'm going to go this Friday. I'm going to go ride with another bus operator, and I told some of the passengers I'm going to be coming on board. So, you know, yeah. But I don't know. I get emotional because I know eventually I'm going to be retiring. And
yeah, you dumbass. Why are you still there, man? You could make more money retired than working. And, you know, she's lost all those years of Social Security and pension now. The longer, you know, she's saving the government money by not collecting her pension and her Social Security. Go travel the world and take pictures, Cindy. What are you doing driving a bus? You've served your time. Now go live your life. Watch it on TV with me.
So I get really emotional when I think about that because I started at such a young age, and, you know, so, but if anybody has any questions, you know, go ahead and ask me.
I'll just turn it over to the board and ask board members, do you have any questions or comments for Cindy?
Oh, okay.
I have a comment and a question. My comment is just thank you for your service. 45 years is a long time. And I know you've seen generations go past you. And thank you very much for your ambassadorship, because you can't do that job 45 years and have the service that you've had
That's for
without
sure.
being an ambassador as well.
I'll say one thing for Cindy, and people should use her as an example. We don't ever hear her on the radio, ever, ever, ever. She knows how to handle. She couldn't have survived there for 40 years if she didn't know how to handle people, and she does know how to handle people. She's very good with people. Very good with disabled people. She's just good with people.
Wow. So thank you very much for all of that. My question is, what is your most satisfying experience that you had in those 45 years as a Trimet employee?
Oh, that's really hard. I don't know. It's probably many of them. You know, I put myself in other people's shoes, and, you know, just the people that I've met, you know, helping them out. One thing I really enjoyed about, you know, the 43 was, you know, I'm probably the bus driver that a lot of drivers love to hate, because if somebody wants dropped off at their home.
Yes.
And
she does,
you know,
that.
like especially.
That's right. That's why she's good, folks. Listen to this. This is important, because this is it right here. She goes out of her way to make people happy. That's how you do the job. She is one of the best people in customer service I've ever known.
Especially if they have a hard time walking and it's safe, I'll drop them off right at their home, at, you know, their front door. I just really thrive doing that.
That's right.
Really do. Just giving people.
That's right. That's what you do, man. I'm glad she said that, because that's what you do. You give them what they want, and then they like you and they defend you and they don't mess with you. And she's 40 years at this job as a female.
Safe service and having conversations with people. It's hard to just pinpoint one. You know, I helped a lot of people. I know one time I picked up.
This actually isn't bad. I'm surprised. This is actually pretty good. I'm quite surprised.
Somebody, he was in a mobility device, and I was on my way back to the Merle garage, and his battery was running low. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go off route, and I'm going to take you to where your apartment is, and then I can just go back to the garage.
Yeah, that's it. That's right there, folks. You got to listen to this. You drivers better listen to this. This is how you do it. This is the job. She's telling you right here how you do your job.
So I did that. You know, feel like, you know, I really love to help people.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, she does.
Any other comments, President Warner or anyone from the board?
Well, this is President Warner. I just want to thank you for your years of service and ask you if you ever drove the Holgate line in your early career.
I did. It was a 26 Holgate. I drove it, back in the day.
Yeah.
I started on the east side of town. There was only one garage when I started, Center Street, and then I think Powell opened up in 77 or 78, but I did drive the Holgate. I sure did.
Yeah, of course she did.
I think you may have driven me around from Southeast Portland to downtown many times. Hard to tell with your mask on, but thank you again for your service. It's greatly appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Yep.
Well, okay.
Other board comments?
This is Lori. I just wanted to echo, thank you for all of your years of service. I remember 1976. You've seen a lot of changes. I wanted to ask you what it was like to be a female bus operator back in the 1970s. You probably were a small group of women at that time. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a small group. And, you did get, harassed sometimes. I remember I had it was a tripper where I picked up some folks and I took them to an industrial park. And, the guys in the back, they would kind of hassle and stuff like that. But then I'll tell you, I got to tell you this one story. So there was this one gal, Mary. She drove for a long time, and this is the story that I heard. So she got downtown, and the guy she opened the door and he didn't want to ride her bus because she was a woman. So he said, I'm going to wait for the next bus. So guess who shows up? It wasn't me, of course, but another woman driver shows up, and so 2 in a row. So, and I remember, I was driving the 33 at one time, and I kind of overshot my turn from McLaughlin Boulevard to make a left turn in at Milwaukee, and I had to kind of back up. So these guys, to my right, they say woman driver, but it's a lot better now. It's way better now. I'm really glad of that.
That girl, Cindy.
Well, thank you for persevering.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for your decades of service. 76, Cindy. That was before I was born, so I don't remember much at all.
Isn't that something? She wasn't even born in 76. Shit. I was already graduated high school. I was in college.
But I know that in 77, the Blazers won the NBA championship, and that was a big year. And I'm just curious if you had worked that day and if you were, if you had witnessed anything special, particularly for the city of Portland.
Oh, I just remember, I don't know if I worked that day because I took Tuesday, Wednesdays off, but I do remember them having a parade. I mean, it was really incredible. And, really, I wait for the day till they can win another championship. It's been a long time. So, but I definitely remember that. Really do.
Yeah,
and I just one more question. What are your retirement plans?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about retiring in 2023. We'll see. I do wildlife and nature photography.
She's going to stay till 2023. She's out of her fucking mind, lady. You are crazy.
And, I keep thinking, I could be here, I could be there. Klamath Falls is one of my favorite areas. I'm going to be going to Alaska next month to photograph brown bears and their cubs. And I'm going with another group of 6 photographers, so I would not be bored. I definitely would not be bored because, you go out and you take images, and then you come out.
I mean, she's a photographer and a traveler, and why don't you retire and do that? She's really hooked on that job, man. It's her whole life. She said before, I've heard her say it, you'll have to carry me out of here. I'll retire when they carry me out of here. So she's not ever going to plan to retire. She won't. I heard last year she's going to retire this April. Well, April's come and gone. Now she just said 2023. She's not going to retire, obviously.
Now you edit them. I mean, I could stay home for 90 days and, edit my images and stuff. And it's just, I'm actually enjoying
Actually, she's a good photographer too. Her stuff is good.
Home now, my days off. I mean, before COVID, I would work a lot of hours, but since COVID, I've really enjoyed. In fact, in February I had a vacation and I didn't go anywhere and I stayed home and I said, boy, this is what retirement's going to be like. So yeah. So if anybody wants to check out my photography, it's www.cindykassab.com. I have a website, so you can check out my work.
Let's check that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add how deeply honored I am to be able to be here for celebrating your career. This is a rare treat to have someone be such an instrumental part of this organization.
Yeah,
you clearly have grown up with it. So thank you so much for all your service. And I'm also hearing the potential for a gallery exhibit of sorts one day when you're ready to show your photography. We might have to have other Trimet staff members see what you've been up to.
Well, you can look at my website. Yeah. I was in a gallery, Gango Gallery, a long time ago, and then out there at the Collector Gallery back in the 80s and 90s, but it's so different now. So,
look at that.
I do have a website, and
yes, and it's
if anybody's interested, they can contact me about photographs and stuff, So, yeah, but look up my website.
Oh, it's playing by itself.
Yeah. Thanks, Ozzy.
Cynthia, this is Linda Simmons. I'm curious, Well, first of all, comments that people have made are just wonderful. Your contribution to the agency and to the lives of so many people that you help provide transit for. I'm curious if you have acknowledged in your work the changes in highway development and traffic patterns since you began, because that's a lot of time and a lot of development in the Portland area and in the region that
you can buy our stuff right here.
Has really changed the face of how we get around.
Look at this stuff, will you?
I'm curious, what your observations are about that.
Well, let me tell you, it's, I mean, back in the day, really traffic wasn't too bad. I mean, I remember, I moved out in Vancouver, 1987. I remember leaving downtown at 5 o'clock, going over the interstate bridge with no problem. But now the traffic is, oh my gosh, especially in the afternoon, it's so bad. There's been so many people moving here.
Who's this Max?
But
who's this?
I don't know. The thing I don't like is, though, they take some of the roads like Foster and they call it a road diet. They take out a lane and, to put bicycle paths in there, and it's just, I don't know. And you look at Powell Boulevard. Look at Powell Boulevard by the Powell Garage. It's, it really backs up. I don't know.
Get him, Cindy, get him.
Bridge, that could be wide. They should widen that to at least 4 lanes each way, because, there's a lot of truckers that go through there, and they're losing time, losing money, making their hauls, But, okay, so when I started here, the whole...
Cindy's a working woman, man. She's a working woman. Okay, that's a working woman there.
Whole state of Oregon, the whole state of Oregon only had like 1 million plus people, 1.5 million people. Now there's 4 million people in Oregon, so that's quite a rise. And I remember when Portland had like 368,000 people, and you could go out to Hillsboro, Forest Grove. It was country out there, but now it's. In fact, I was working matinees and night runs out at Merlo for a long time, and then I came out to Powell last July. I've decided I am done with matinees and nights because the traffic in the afternoon is absolutely horrible.
It is. It is. Well, I'm one of the board members, probably not the only one, that has driven the bus simulator. And, I have a real respect for your work and your ability to navigate streets that are not really very wide. Not all the streets are for some of the 40-foot buses, and I can't even imagine when we get to 60-foot buses. But hopefully the Division Transit project will make that more possible. Your work is extraordinarily demanding, and not just in terms of navigating the streets, but also managing all the relationships with people. And I'm just in awe of the work that you and all of your colleagues do in terms of providing safe and reliable service to our community. And the fact that you've not had crashes.
Linda, just use those buzzwords, just safe and reliable. Just use those buzzwords.
In all that time is a real tribute to you, because when I did the bus simulator, I took out a mirror. I was turning left, and the back of the bus took out the mirror on the car that was parked along the road. And so, because you have to allow 2 feet to the right in order to make that turn without colliding with cars parked along the street. If any of you board members have not done the bus simulator, arrange with staff to do it. It's absolutely
you should do it.
Amazing the work that you do. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I allow 100 feet when I turn. Just kidding.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other follow-up from the board before we close?
Hi, Cynthia. This is Laverne. Just want to say thank you and congratulations. Retirement is everything that you will think of and then some. The only downside is, especially when you wear a uniform, you have to go out and buy clothes. So look forward to a new wardrobe. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you so much. It was nice to meet all of you.
Well, Cindy, before you go, wanted to just let you know that we appreciate you. I've seen some of those amazing photos, and they are truly amazing. So thank you for taking time to join us today. And really, thank you for your service that you bring, and thank you for going the extra mile. So thank you, Cindy, and congratulations again.
Thank you. All right.
That actually was a lot. That actually went pretty well, don't you think? I'm surprised. Good job, Cindy. You did good there. Surprisingly well.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew her. I didn't know her well, but we hung out at Sunset Transit Center a few times. Oh, I saw her in Beaverton. Yeah, she was doing work when I was there. She's very likable, and she knows how to handle people, man. She got a whole array of groupies, and yeah, she's a people person, which is why she survived there for 40 years. And I hope you new drivers listen to what she said, because she said it all. Okay, you want to do these things for people. You want to help them. Okay, that's what you want to do.
Okay, Mr. President, that concludes my report for this morning.
All right, thank you, Sam. Really appreciate the report and taking time to allow Cindy to come meet with us today. That's great. So with that, then we're going to move into the kind of the regular part of the agenda, which is the first item on the agenda is the
Wait a minute,
agenda.
wait, that's it? That's the goddamn general manager report? So he didn't talk about the murder? He didn't talk about the bullet hitting the window? He didn't bring up any of those things. Okay, is this really?
As you can see here, it says items appearing on the consent agenda.
So yeah, that's it. Wait a minute, that's it. Can you fucking believe that? He didn't bring up any of that stuff. See, this is how they do it. They only bring up what they want. They don't bring up anything bad. Just like they did with my lawsuit. They didn't bring it up. It never was. He didn't talk about it. That's proof how bullshit these meetings really are. Okay, he didn't bring up any of that stuff because it wouldn't make them look good. And this is what we're dealing with here, man, is a secret society. And this whole board meeting is nothing but a public relations show. There's nothing genuine about it. It's just, they'll tell you what they want to tell you, and that's it. And that's why your government function of the Trimet governing structure is a goddamn mess, and it's just horrible. Over and out.